Welcome to today's Fireside Chat, Evolving at the Edge with the AWS Snow family. My name is Jeff Barr. I'm Chief Evangelist for AWS. I'll be your host for today's chat. Joining me is Bill Vass, VP of Technology for AWS. Hey, Bill. So today we'll be discussing three things. We're going to talk about AWS's Edge vision and the key use cases for running compute applications and storing data at the edge. We're going to talk about how technology CIOs and CTOs and also cloud architects can extend their cloud environments to the edge. And we'll also talk about how the AWS Snow family can be used at edge locations for data collection, processing, and also data transfer to and from AWS. Before we jump in, let me give you just a brief introduction. Again, my name is Jeff Barr, VP and Chief Evangelist for AWS. I'm coming up on my 18-year mark at Amazon. I've been writing the AWS News blog since 2004, and I've written well over 3,000 posts. On the personal side, I've got 5 grown children, 4 grandchildren so far. I've been a technology fan, a builder, and a user since I was a child. Over the many years since then, I've worked with centralized, distributed, embedded, mainframes, mini computers, microcomputers, built, used, and programmed them all. How about you, Bill?
Well, Jeff, similar to you, I've done technology my whole life. I actually started all the way back where I saved programs on paper tape, even before punch cards, and I've worked on mainframes and just a whole variety of things in distributed computing. I also worked in private industry and the government. I was a CTO for a section of the Army and a CIO, one of the CIOs at the Pentagon. Responsible for a lot of infrastructure there. I worked at Sun Microsystems. I worked a bit on OpenStack, and I ran a startup doing autonomous robotics, and then came to Amazon almost about 5.5 years ago, something like that. At Amazon, I'm a VP of engineering for about 50 of our services that range a pretty broad range of things. The gaming systems on the game tech side, the virtual studio systems, all of the IoT systems and edge computing related to that, the Snowball family, which you'll hear about, and along with file storage and high performance storage and some of our other storage systems and storage transfer systems, all of the real-time and streaming systems, so things like Kinesis and Kinesis Video, robotics and autonomous systems, automation, management, deployment, logging, auditing, monitoring, CloudWatch, and last but definitely not least, quantum computing.
That's quite the portfolio. So let's talk a little bit about the edge before we dive into today's announcements. So in general, we think about the edge as providing the infrastructure and the software that moves the data processing and the analysis as close as possible to the end user. And this can include things like deploying AWS managed hardware and software to locations outside AWS data centers, and even onto customer-owned devices themselves. We know that a lot of applications rely on the cloud for their processing, their analytics, their storage, and their machine learning, but they also need to do some processing, things like machine learning inference, really close to the end user, so they can deliver really fast, intelligent, real-time responsiveness. You also want to reduce the amount of data that's transferred from the edge up to the cloud. Another interesting use case, industrial machines running on the plant floor. They want to be able to detect and adjust the variations in the dimensions, the quality of the materials as they flow down the assembly line, and also self-driving cars. They want to be able to ingest, process information from a multitude of sensors, absolutely in real time. You don't want to have to rely on a connection back to the cloud. We see applications like these are the ones that are driving the requirements for ever-increasing power and performance at the edge of the cloud. So, Bill, how does this resonate with you?
Yeah, that's very true. And we have a big portfolio that we've built to enable that. And the cool thing about our portfolio is it allows a consistent deployment environment, a consistent management environment, end-to-end security, and sort of consistency in how you operate across a broad range and the ability to manage it. So it starts at what I call the very edge, which are the small microcontrollers and things like that with free RTOS. And communications to that, even with things like Sidewalk and all different types of wireless communications that we support, and then a little with smarter and more powerful devices, you have Vass, which gives you the ability to run Lambda and containers and things like that right on these edge devices, and also act as an IoT hub. And oh, by the way, that runs on the snowballs, which turns the snowballs into IoT hubs. They're pretty neat. And the ability to run Lambda and containers there through Greengrass. And then as you move closer, we have Kinesis Video, which allows you to do this all of LiDAR, radar, and video streams in real time, and we do millions of correlations on that. And in all these products, you can run machine learning right on the edge, which is pretty important for our customers also, and sort of manage those models down on the edge. And as you continue to move closer, you have things like Wavelength, which is our partnership with our telco providers, which move AWS processing into the 5G hubs for processing at the edge. And then, of course, RoboMaker for robotics and autonomous systems, which lets you manage, huge amounts of robots. And then our whole IoT portfolio pulls this together in managing hundreds of millions of things locally, if you like, and from those things and managing those things and being able to update them and deploy to them. And then Outpost allows you to run, really large scale, high performance computing inside data centers at the edge and things like that, push the AWS cloud right to the very edge. And then, of course, there's the Snow family, and the Snow family runs in the rugged edge. So on oil rigs and ships and airplanes and movie shoot sets for movie studios and in some manufacturing floors where they don't have good air conditioning and things like that. That's where Snowball's really quite a sweet spot. Drone operations and things like that lets you do really amazing high performance computing and storage and AWS services right there in a ruggedized environment where the temperature's all over the place and there's dust and it's dirty. In fact, a lot of the most valuable data for these industries like oil and gas and the military and industrial is collected in places where it isn't a great IT environment. And so the ability to collect, process, and even ship the data back and having that built-in logistics and super layered security is where Snowball really shines.
Okay. All right. So as part of talking about the entire Snow family, I know we've got some awesome announcements today. Give us a brief overview of those, and then we'll dive deep on each one.
Yeah, so we're announcing 4 pretty big new features and services, actually, or our new products for the Snowball family. So first is the AppSub. So the AppSub, which we'll show a demo of a little bit later, gives you a nice graphical user interface for managing your snowman clusters and clusters of snowballs as you cluster them and operate them over larger scales over longer periods of time. Snowball is API compatible with the services that are available on it with AWS. And up until this point, people have been doing basically command line management on the Snowballs. And for a lot of people, that's great, but this really broadens the audience. The Snowball Edge comes in 2 flavors. It comes in the compute optimized flavor, which has got 5,300 GPUs and about 52 virtual x86 cores, 100 gig networking, and a lot of flash, storage, high performance, and RAM. And then we have the second version, which is the storage optimized Snowball, but Snowball Edge, it also has compute on it as well. So we bumped that up to be 25% faster, and we'll give you some specs on that. It's really a pretty amazing piece of kit, and it's got 100 gig networking as well, which is pretty amazing to me. And then in addition to that, we've added the ability to have local IAM processing on the Snowball. Up until this point, you'd set your IAM up on the cloud and manifest it to the Snowball and then manage there. Now you can build and manage your IAM environments right there. And then we've enabled the system manager, task manager to do automation of tasks on the Snowballs as well.
Awesome. Okay, so let's dive into each one of these. Let's start with AppSub. Tell me a bit more about why we built it and what it can do and what kind of users it's going to delight.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about it. We tried to make AppSub basically as consumer grade as possible so that anyone can use it, even people not familiar with AWS at all. And so it allows you to manage your files, your S3 buckets, manage your file sizes. It allows you to create clusters of multiple snowballs together. So, you can have, say, an 800 terabyte cluster in one rack of snowballs, a single rack. and you can span multiple racks as well. So you can create these nice durable clusters. They're durable locally. Nothing's as durable as the cloud, but it allows you to run them locally. And you can stripe the data across the snowballs there, add and subtract cluster components as well. It allows you to manage your EC2 instances, start and stop, create, all those kinds of things. Allows you to manage roles and create roles and users. So all the things you'd expect, along with giving you metrics and data, what's going on the snowballs. You can manage a single snowball with them. You can add snowballs to clusters. And one of the important things you can do is unlock the snowball. And we'll talk about what goes on in unlocking the snowball a bit later. And I think we even have, and you can build scripts, which we'll talk about as well for doing your own management. But I think we even have a demo for you.
That's awesome. So why don't we roll the tape? Let's take a look at that demo.
Introducing AWS AppSub, a simple and easy way to manage your AWS Snow family devices. The Snow family services offer managed edge devices that enable you to deploy edge applications and migrate your data to and from the AWS cloud. Previously, you operated Snow devices by taking the time to correctly enter commands into a CLI to do things like unlock a device or transfer files. Now with AppSub, you have an easy way to deploy and manage your Snow devices via a simple graphical user interface. To get started, download AWS AppSub from the Snowball Resources page on aws.amazon.com and install it on any Windows or Mac client, such as a laptop. You can use AWS AppSub to manage any of the Snow family devices. With AppSub, you can unlock your device in seconds. Just enter the device IP address and the unlock code, upload the manifest file, and then click Unlock Device. You can also create profiles that store your credentials for easier access later. The AppSub dashboard shows you device and service metrics, such as storage capacity or compute instances. From the dashboard, you can easily jump to areas such as your file storage, and you can see the folders and files that are already on your device. You can easily transfer files by dragging and dropping them in, including multiple files and folders at once. From the compute page, you can view your storage volumes and instances, along with key information about them. Launching new instances is as easy as a few clicks. AppSub also enables you to simplify common tasks via AWS Systems Manager. You can write and run scripts that will automatically execute the operations defined in them. These automated scripts can also be presented as actions, listed in customizable drop-down menus, such as a Restart Instance action in the EC2 page. You can also use AppSub to manage user access via AWS IAM. You can create users and define what they can and cannot access when they sign into a device. With just a few clicks in AWS AppSub, you have the full functionality of Snow devices at your fingertips, making it easy to set up and operate a large number of devices, so that you can rapidly deploy edge computing workloads and migrate your data to or from the AWS cloud. To get started with AWS AppSub for Snow family and learn more, visit the Snowball Resources page.
That was a really cool demo, Bill. So you mentioned EC2 instances. What does that mean in the context of a Snowball?
Yeah, so a standard compute optimized Snowball is equivalent to a C5. And then you can have, you can break that up into 52 virtual CPUs if you want. So you can define a lot of different kind of Snowball instances on that. And generally what people will do is they'll test their application out on a C5 in the cloud, create a CloudFormation template for all the things they want to run on the Snowball. And then they can go in when they manifest their Snowball and select the things that they would put down on the Snowball. And for a new storage optimized Snowball, you actually have 40 virtual CPUs. You used to have 24, now you have 40. So that's part of the speed improvement as well, we'll talk about in a minute.
Perfect. Great segue. Let's talk more about the new Snowball Edge.
Yeah, so let me first, I'll start to kind of remind you about how Snowballs work and those kinds of things, so that's going to level set things. So the Snowball is a ruggedized device. It'll operate at a positive 140 degrees for ambient temperature and negative 50 degrees ambient temperature. So it has a wide temperature range. It will work on unconditioned power just 110-volt unconditioned power, so it doesn't need fancy data centers and things like that. The boards are conformal coated, so it can operate in high humidity and salt environments and things like that. When the Snowball is in ship mode, it can handle 200G impacts, and it's rated for hurricane force wind and rain infiltration to avoid that, and wave infiltration. You can't submerge it, but a wave can go over the top. It can be in the rain and those kinds of things. The case is made of cool gray, so it reflects infrared rain radiation, and it's got 100 gig networking, which is pretty amazing, along with Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and cellular connectivity capability on it. Radio. So it's a pretty broad range of kit that can operate on it. And so it gives you the ability to build things on AWS and manifest them and run them on the edge for long periods of time. And the prices range in the, a couple $100 a day, a few $100 a day to operate. So a few $100 per week to operate. So they're about $30 a day. So they're pretty cheap to operate as well. The cool thing about the Snowball is first of all, from a security perspective, it runs a trusted operating system. The data is encrypted multiple times with multiple different keys. The keys aren't stored on the device. The key sets are unique to each device. The software is all signed. The hardware is validated. The binaries are all signed. Every process that runs a control plane is whitelisted. And so it's incredibly secure. It's rated for TSSCI level 6+ data. That's the highest security rating in the industry. And so there's just nothing higher than that. So banks use it, the intelligence agencies use it, the Department of Defense uses it, oil companies use it. It's often used for video shoots for movies and things like that, because the movie companies really do care about the security of their shoots and their movies before they get released is pretty important, as you can imagine. So it's real popular. If people care about security, it's pretty popular from that aspect. And then the physical case has 3 layers of impact resistance to handle the 200G impacts, and it has 3 layers of anti-tamper as well, along with RFID notification and anti-tamper and things like that. So it's really built to be very, very secure and rugged. You can fit 8 of them in a standard rack. They fit their standard rack mountable. And one more important design constraint is they're under 50 pounds. So they're OSHA standard rated for 1-person liftable, and they can be shipped by any common carrier. And they have a built-in e-ink label so they know where they're going. And actually, the e-ink label is another part of the security for the Snowball, because we found when people ship a lot of devices around and things like that, they sometimes put them in the wrong box or the wrong label on them. You can't do that with a Snowball because it is its own box and it knows where it's going and it generates its own label. So when you're ready to order a Snowball, you run your EC2 instances in your CloudFormation template, and you run your tests on your C5, and then you say, I want to manifest to a Snowball. And you put your address in, and what it does, it'll take all of that stuff plus all the related data. It'll look up a Snowball in our inventory, take the TPM certs off that Snowball, plus your AWS key that isn't on the Snowball, and it'll encrypt with those, and it'll hash everything as well before it encrypts it to ensure that you have a signature for everything. And then it takes all that and manifests it on the Snowball, and then the address changes to your address. A call is made to UPS or FedEx or for top secret shipping for Transcom, and they come pick it up, and then it shows up in front of you. You plug it in, you turn it on. It'll actually play a cartoon on how to hook itself up. I think you've seen it do that. And then you have to provide to it your AWS key to unlock it, and that's part of the unlock thing that we do that you saw in the demo. Used to do that manually. Now it will do that automatically for you. And once it unlocks, it'll go through and validate all those things and all those hashes before it will get started. So it is a whole lot more security than you get with just a Dell box or any other piece of hardware or probably anything you see out there. It's just tremendous levels of security, tremendous levels of performance and durability in a very rugged package.
It sounds to me like that's the kind of security that you have to actually build in from the ground up. You can't build something insecurely and then say, oh, by the way, we need to wrap it in security. You said like TPMs that run at boot time, you don't retrofit those kinds of things, right?
Right. We've been designing this for some time, and we had a lot of help from a lot of security experts from the government and other places as well to work on it. So we're introducing today the upgraded new storage optimized Snowball Edge. So it's got 25% faster data transfer rates. It still has the 100 terabytes of storage capability in it, but it's now added the device virtual as I mentioned, and it's got a 1 terabyte of solid state, NVMe solid state storage that's super fast, built right into the motherboard, and 100 gig networking, which just blows me away because you put 8 of those in a rack, you have 100 gigabit in a rack, which is just crazy to me, having 800 gigabits of access. It's all fully compatible with AppSub and fully compatible with the ability to cluster and uncluster them in AppSub. And we've had thousands of customers use Snowballs all over the place, so they're pretty tried and true as well.
And you said that you can put up to 8 together and get a cluster of 800 terabytes? Yeah.
In fact, you can go much larger than that. There really isn't an upper limit. We have customers that run about 1.2 petabyte clusters on them, so you can cluster across racks. It's about 800 terabytes in a rack of raw storage.
Impressive. Okay, so let's skip ahead a bit. Tell me about the new support for IAM on the devices.
Yeah, so we have a lot of customers that run these for very long periods of time out in the field. The IAM system is important to be dynamic, and the current Snowballs, it's sort of preset when you launch them, right, and ship them to you. Now what you can do is you can go in and set up roles and all the complex IAM functions you're used to doing to manage groups of people. So what people often do with these Snowballs is they'll run many instances on them, and they'll have, say, Windows instances, Linux instances, and other things running on the Snowballs, and they need to control specific access to specific instances. So one of the popular use cases for it is a GIS server, so serving up maps and high resolution data. Another popular use case is on the same Snowball, they'll be ingesting a 4K video stream from a drone, learning in real time to do object identification on it. And they want different users to access different things at different times with different roles. And so you're able to set that up and manage that with a nice GUI interface that's available to you.
This is really interesting. So this says that a customer could get a single device and then using the new IAM support, run some very disparate applications and handle some really disparate use cases with it, and not worry about one of them interfering with the other by accident.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. All right. And finally, you mentioned the AWS Systems Manager support. What's that all about?
Yeah, so Snowball and System Manager have worked together already. And so you have the ability already before this to put the System Manager agent on a Snowball and download it in your manifest or EC2 instance. And when the Snowball starts up, you can have the CloudWatch agent, System Manager agent, and they just show up in your console just like any other EC2 instance when they're connected. But for a lot of our customers, they need to operate disconnected as well, right, for long periods of time. And they like to be able to automate things. And you saw a little bit of that in the demo. And you have the ability to go through and create tasks. So let's say you need to set up a database, and maybe you have a classic 3-tier application. You have a web tier, a database tier, and an application tier that you're managing. And previously, you would go through and do command line access to, start the web server and start the database server and start the app server, let's say. And now what you can do is you can write that in a YAML or a JSON template, and then it shows up on a drop-down list in AppSub, and you just click a button and it just does all that for you. So in addition to all of the ones that we provide out of the box, you have the ability to go through and write and automate everything in your Snowball environment so that any end user can manage it.
One thing I love about what you've told me today is it seems like everything that our customers already learned about AWS still applies. If they understand EC2 and Lambda and IAM and EBS, CloudFormation, CloudWatch, those are wonderful skills that apply in the cloud, and now they apply at the edge as well. So I love that feature.
Yeah, I mean, and with AppSub, you can be completely disconnected from AWS. You can manifest things down. You can set up a cluster. You can, plug it into a local network and never connect to the cloud at all if you need to, right? So you've got that independence. AppSub runs on either a Windows or Mac device. Pretty soon it'll also run on Linux as well. That's coming. So on the Snowball, the cool thing is you can run anything that runs on x86, right? So you can run all the flavors of Windows in different VMs on your machine. And then you have S3 there. You have file systems and block systems available to you, along with IAM capabilities. And so it's a pretty exciting platform for people.
Oh, awesome. It's been great to speak with you, Bill. So why don't I wrap a bit, kind of talk a little bit about the AWS at the edge. So I think, as you've heard today, we've got a lot of edge-specific capabilities inside of AWS. You combine those with all of the AWS services available in the cloud. You look at the entire Snow family. You look at how you can use those to deploy at the edge with Outposts, with IoT Greengrass, with Storage Gateway, really solving a lot of different problems for developers when they start to think about managing connected devices. As we shared, there's a common programming model. Once they learn something, it's applicable in many, many different locations on the device and in the cloud. And we're seeing that AWS is really helping these applications to perform well from the edge up to the cloud, wherever the application, wherever the data, wherever the compute might happen to be. So with that, Bill, I really thank you for your time, for accommodating this really unique recording setup that we have. Been super, super fun to talk to you. Really appreciate the time that you've taken to do this with us.
Yeah, thank you as well. It's great, always great to catch up with you, and I look forward to talking to you about more of the exciting things we'll be launching in the future.
For sure. Great to see you, Bill. Thanks for watching today's Fireside Chat, Evolving at the Edge with the AWS Snow family. I'm Jeff Barr, have been speaking with Bill Vass. Have a great day.